Happy Sunday. Friends, lovers, this is 5 Minutes with Robert Nasir.
And Amy Nasir.
And Amy Nasir.
And you.
And you. The most important part of the show.
Mary Aline. And you. She's online. That's awesome. Thank you.
Wonderful. Happy Sunday. Thank you for being here. It is June 14th, 2020, the 166th day of 2020.
Tick, 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 tick.
Tempus Fugit.
2021.
Tempus Fugit. That's a song by Yes.
It is.
And it's Alan White's birthday.
Is it Alan White's birthday? That's great. He's the drummer of Yes.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
194 days until Christmas, 139 days until Halloween. And on this date, June 14th, 1777, the Continental Congress adopted the resolution that, and I quote, "The flag of the United States shall be 13 stripes red and white, and the Union shall be 13 stars, white on a blue field."
Okay.
Representing the Union of States. See, as new states entered the Union, new stars and new stripes were added. Until 1818.
Okay.
When Congress enacted a law stipulating that the stripes be returned to 13.
Okay.
For the original 13 colonies.
Excellent.
With only stars being added to represent new states. Now, can you imagine 50 stripes? That would have been something.
That would have been, I think that would be kind of hard to look at. It might not be so aesthetic.
Yes.
But at the time they had, I think, 20 stars in 1818, all lined up nicely in a row with the white stars with a blue background.
And you can get away with 20 stripes. But I think our Congress was of wise men.
Yes.
Who knew better. Of course.
Good design aesthetic.
Yes. So yes, on June 14th, 1877, the 100th anniversary of that first flag, the first Flag Day was observed.
Nice. So happy Flag Day.
So happy Flag Day.
Wave them if you got them.
But in addition to Flag Day, it's also National Bourbon Day.
Oh, goodness. I should have brought the bourbon out.
So salute your flag with a shot glass.
Yes.
Officially and by act of Congress in 1964, bourbon must be made in the United States. Just like it's not really Scotch unless it's made in Scotland.
Yes.
Yes, but in fact, bourbon really means Kentucky, and 95% of all bourbons are made in Kentucky.
Hello to friends in Kentucky, if you are watching now or later.
And hello to our sponsor, Mark, who knows far more about bourbon than I'll ever forget.
Yes. He did a presentation on it, as a matter of fact.
At GlowCon, that's right.
That's right.
There are, in fact, more barrels of bourbon than people. Population of Kentucky, last count, 4,468,000. So there are over 4.4 million barrels of bourbon in Kentucky. People worry about shortages during challenging times, but it's nice to know we ain't running out of bourbon.
You know, I use bourbon often for baking.
Yeah, well, I bake with bourbon too.
And there's a really excellent drink that no one around here makes, but they do in New Orleans. It's called bourbon milk punch.
That's right.
And it's the best thing. It tastes like Christmas. It's just delicious.
If you are anywhere near Nolans,
yes.
And nobody says Nolans in New Orleans.
No, they don't.
They
say New Orleans.
We say Nolans because we're not from there. Anyway, if you're somewhere you can get a bourbon milk punch, make that happen. Otherwise, look it up on the internet, make it yourself. When Amy suggests a drink, it is invariably a winner. And I can say that even as a relative non-drinker. Although I've drunk on camera before to celebrate. Why were we even drinking Coronas? I don't even remember.
I don't know. What is this Corona thing? What was that?
But this would be a good day to think about that because the word of the day is reflection.
Reflection. It's that Diana Ross sings that, doesn't she?
Reflection, that's right. That's right. And in that context, what I'm listening to this week, our podcast of the week, same as last week.
Oh.
There's a reflection for you.
That
I am
one guy, Kevin
still
Hart.
listening to Kevin Hart's book on Audible.
Right.
The Decision, Overcoming Today's BS for Tomorrow's Success.
That's nice.
Yes. It's a piece of work. A good piece of work. So today we are looking back on the previous 15 episodes, the first 15 episodes of the show, and asking questions like, what have we learned? And where are we headed?
Yeah, what, where?
So, as we do this quick review, comment for us on Facebook and on YouTube. What are your thoughts and questions?
What are your thoughts about our podcast?
And what would you like to hear discussed in future episodes?
Yes, I've also asked them, tell me your favorite bourbon drink. So
oh, yes. Well,
if you've got any recipes, please post.
Priorities.
I love it, yeah. And if you've got any favorite episodes of ours, just reference them down below. You know, Pride and Unconditional Love. That was a really interesting one. And yeah,
I thought the last one was pretty hard to beat.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard episode 15, 14, if you haven't heard episode 14 yet,
yes.
Our numbering scheme is funny because we started with 0. If you haven't heard episode 14 yet, right after this, listen to that. Anyway, shout outs to friends of 5 minutes. And I'm going to go by first names here because not everybody wants everybody to know everything about everything they contribute.
We'll just call it.
But our patrons and our PayPal contributors.
Mm-hmm. Who is it?
Ginny and Jennifer and John and Mark and Paul and Mary Aline and Rebecca and Laura and Linda. You guys are the best.
Thank you.
You all make it all worthwhile, but you guys really are the best.
Yes.
If you want to remain even more anonymous, drop me a line. I won't say your name when I shout out. But really,
we can
y'all deserve the props.
We can call you Mr. X or Miss X or Ms. X or Mrs. X.
We could do that. That is a thing that we could do.
If you had a particular pet name you'd like us to call you, just let us know.
It will be all I can do just to remember, not to say somebody's name.
I'll keep track.
But we'll try to be discreet. So each of our episodes has had a theme. Specifically, we have discussed optimism, benevolence, and gratitude, pride and values, weekends and holidays, allies.
Yes, allies.
Ethics, without scarecrows, trust and forgiveness, unconditional love, efficacy and masculinity/femininity, grace during challenging times, coping and letting it go, choice and positivity.
Excellent. And Linda Cordair, she has a wonderful suggestion, finding joy and inspiration in visual art.
Oh, we've got to do that one.
Yes. Let's do
I wonder
that.
if we could have a guest for that one. Who would it be? Let's think about that. I think by the end of the episode, we may come up with an answer.
Yes.
So looking at the themes we've discussed so far, there are some overarching themes. And the overarching themes are actually all in the Book of Life. I've shown this once or twice before. And all of the notes that led to me deciding to launch this podcast are in here. Overarching themes that I was determined to cover because people say, why are you doing a podcast, man? We don't need another podcast. It's always in that voice.
Do they say this?
They do say that.
Who says this?
Well, they don't say it to me, but I don't think they've got the stones to say it to me.
That's true.
But it's on the list of things you should never do during these quarantine times.
Right.
There really were posts and memes, and you don't need to start a podcast. Nobody needs another podcast. It goes along with the ukulele.
Don't
learn to play.
Well, we are nonconformists, aren't we?
Or non-performists. So
That's
don't
beautiful.
learn to play the ukulele, and don't start a podcast. So answers to the question, why did you start a podcast? Because of these overarching themes. So you'll see common denominators in the list I just read. Context is everything.
Yes.
Keeping context means considering everything.
Everything.
By philosophical definitions, everything that is relevant.
Yes, everything
to
that is
the topic.
essential to the topic. And that's difficult to actually figure out what is essential and important to that.
It is. And it's hard to do because we tend to oversimplify
Yep.
in the name of, well, we think we're being principled, but we end up
Sure.
instead being binary.
Or extremely impatient, or
Yes.
wanting to impress our friends,
Or seeing everything through the lens of our side and their side.
yes,
As if there's always two sides.
I want an easy answer.
That's right. So, if anybody's been trying to pigeonhole me as left or right, or liberal or conservative,
Robert,
good luck with that.
Yeah, Robert is not left or right.
Context
He's
is
up
everything.
and down.
And if you figured out a simple answer to anything going on nowadays, it's probably the wrong answer.
Robert is omnipresent.
We absolutely believe in principles. But principles don't mean leave everything out.
Right.
The second overarching theme and common denominator of most or all of our shows, love is all that matters. And all that matters is love.
All right.
Now, I haven't said it in those words before, even though that's how it's written in the Book of Life.
Okay.
The way we've approached this, as we discussed last time, in fact, as we've discussed repeatedly, is values are primary.
Oh, yes. I mean, these sound all like topics and ideas and concepts and principles that you kind of weave in throughout all of the shows.
Just so.
Right?
And
Okay.
what I mean by values, and this is what we meant by positivity,
Yeah.
values are what matters. You're not here to not die. You're here to live.
Are we?
You don't have emotions so that you can try not to hate people.
Right.
You're here to love people.
Right. Yeah, I mean, this is part of being, this is trying, you think to yourself, you wake up one day and you're like, I'm a human being. What can I do to make the best of this? What can I do to actually,
Avoid pain
well, not just avoid pain,
or
but
pursue pleasure.
well, pursue pleasure, sure, but and you need to understand what pain is and fear and all of that to know what to avoid on your journey in life.
So
To
spend all your time fighting evil or pursuing the good.
yes, pursuing the good. Yeah, unless I
I've
mean,
said it before, 3%. 3% of your time should be spent fighting evil.
right.
97% should be spent pursuing the good.
And for those people out there who are rational and wonderful people who do pursue evil as a job, for instance.
Fighting evil is a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like being a police officer or
Right.
a
Heroes.
prosecutor, attorney.
Yes.
Things like that. You know, I would really hope that they do find time for themselves, their loved ones, their values, the things that they, they're very passionate about.
Well, I'm glad you have that clarification. I would never want my approach to values to be taken to mean that I don't admire the soldiers and the policemen and the firefighters
True.
and all the people who are out there stopping
EMTs,
bad stuff from happening.
Paramedics,
No,
hospice workers.
I'm primarily addressing the armchair first responders.
The armchair first. Who are they?
Armchair first responders. The keyboard warriors.
Keyboard warriors.
The basement warriors.
I live in my parents' basement.
So, love is all that matters, and all that matters is love.
Yes.
The third theme is we are surrounded by miracles. This one you've heard me say many times, and I'll say it again.
You're talking like magic, or are you talking about things that are reality based?
What do you think?
I don't know.
We are surrounded by miracles, not least of which is yourself.
Well, I'm real. I know this.
And by miracles, what I always explain, except when I don't, I mean values that you could not, in a million years,
It's a
have
long time.
achieved on your own outside the context of a division of labor society.
So you wouldn't be able to have it fall from the sky on your island.
We are surrounded by abundance
Yes.
just by virtue of having been born in this or the previous century. We are surrounded by
true.
miracles.
You might think to yourself, it's 2020, life is horrible.
You
But
might.
actually, it's 2020. Life has accumulated to a lot of goodness.
That's a hard sell.
It's
2020 is a
hard
mess.
sell. I know, I'm just
And
trying.
I don't mean to disrespect anybody who is finding present times difficult. And there's bad juju out there. Bad things are happening.
Yes.
And I don't mean to make light of that.
Yeah.
But despite that, we are surrounded by miracles, not least of which is ourselves.
Yes. And again, back to being human and making the best out of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
The fourth theme has been, and the last of the ones I'm going to mention, everyone deserves the spotlight. You belong in the spotlight. Each of
Yes.
us does, at least now and then. And if the spotlight is not hitting you of its own accord, find it. Squeak your wheel.
Squeak that wheel.
Pound the table. Stand on the table. I'm a big fan of standing on tables.
He is. He has been chastised by waitresses at restaurants.
They don't always like that. But if you don't stand on the table every now and then...
You'll have to come down from that chair or table.
If you don't break out of your comfort zone,
Yeah.
and even if it means rankling a few feathers every now and then...
Rankling.
I don't even know what rankling is. If it
think
means
it's a
ruffling
word.
a few feathers every
Yes.
now and then. I mean, respect property rights, but you can push the limits a little.
Mm-hmm.
Stand on the table every now and then. You will see things in an entirely different way. And you will be in the spotlight.
Right.
And you deserve that.
Yes. Do something different. Completely out of your comfort zone.
Yes.
And, just do it.
You deserve to be in the spotlight as a theme, but you deserve to stand on the table as a tip. So a couple more quick tips, very specific.
Ooh, okay.
The answer is yes. I've mentioned this as one of the secrets of a successful marriage, but it's broader than that. The answer is always yes. If you're not sure if you should do something, the answer is yes.
Well,
if you don't feel like getting out of bed, but there's this thing you want, like your job or breakfast, the answer is yes. Do the thing. If you're never sure whether you should do the thing or not do the thing, the answer is yes. The answer is always yes.
So what you're trying to say here is yes.
Something
so,
like that.
So if I were to say, may I please have $1 million, Robert?
That's right. The answer is yes. Now I got to figure out how to come up with how much are we short? We're a little short of $1 million.
Yeah, I don't think our credit will run to that point.
We could clean out our 401k.
But when you were saying about that, say yes. I mean, you have to understand. It kind of goes along with that 5-minute or 5-second rule for decision making.
That's right. The 5-second rule from Mel Robbins.
So when you're talking about, you've got two different things. For instance, if you want to get up or take a nap, and you're not entirely sure if you're going to, which one you're going to do, then choose the one that involves more effort or more reward, perhaps. I'm not entirely
More
sure.
values.
More values.
Exactly.
I see. Okay.
Don't deny yourself your own highest aspirations.
That's a good way. That's a good way to put that.
Now, there are overachievers out there I might not give that advice to.
Right.
People who are always saying yes and need to let themselves take a break every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
If that's you, you know to take this with a grain of salt. Or maybe you don't. So I'll say it anyway. But for most of us,
like me,
it's good to have a standing order that whether it's your spouse asking for something,
yes,
or you yourself deciding, am I really up for pursuing this activity, this job, this
right.
value, this new adventure? The answer is yes.
The answer is yes. And if you need to take a nap, just take a quick one, just like I did before the show. As for those people who have subscribed to the Facebook page, 5 Minutes with Robert Nasir, will
Amy did
attest
take a
to.
nap, yeah.
Yeah. Remember, I took a nap.
Amazing.
And,
Like a
and
cat.
somehow I took a picture
and
of
then
myself taking a nap.
Well, there's that bit of lucid dreaming, that daydreaming bit at the end there.
It was sleep photography.
Yes, a whole bunch of other tips. I'm not going to read them all, but you will hear these repeated throughout the show.
Yes.
Reasons why this show exists is to make these points. For
So,
example,
yes.
change one thing and you change everything.
Oh,
It's one of the reasons you always say yes, even if it's trivial, because it puts you in a pattern of now I'm going to do the next thing and now I'm going to do the next thing.
mm-hmm.
I usually write my notes with a bold black permanent marker.
So
But this
bold.
is actually Crayola.
Is it?
Yes, I decided to try a non-stinky marker, but those come in colors.
That's beautiful.
So on this page of many
Some-
colors, and yeah,
It's Pride Month colors.
Pride Month. This
Yes.
is the Pride Month list. Although I shouldn't have chosen that for this page, because this page is ideas that didn't make it into the 5 Minutes podcast.
No. The content doesn't match the aesthetic.
You may be wondering, is there anything Robert won't talk about? Well, I may end up talking about these eventually, but here's a few of the ideas that haven't made it into the podcast that really were written in the Book of Life
Yes.
as originally things to do.
And these are separate from my suggestions.
And I saved you from these.
That are in a
And
proper,
Amy has even more suggestions.
Google spreadsheet doc, all organized for convenience.
Yes. So, for example, the first idea that hasn't yet made it into the podcast is the death clock.
The death clock.
The death
That
clock.
sounds
Do a Google
so
search for death clock.
Fun.
It's awesome. So the topic would be mortality, and why mortality is simultaneously the worst thing in the world, literally, and wholly irrelevant. For anybody who's curious, my date of death, according to the death clock,
When is it?
is Saturday, July 26th, 2036.
2036?
On Saturday, July 26th,
That's not that far away.
in 2036, not that far away.
16 years now.
The,
That's going to be
the
longer.
premise, at least, is that, that's when I will assume metaphysical limitation, room temperature. The death clock, it's coming. We've saved you from it so far. The next idea that hasn't made it into the 5 Minutes podcast is the debt clock.
Ooh.
That's DEBT. What you can do about our absurdly destructive monetary system.
You could do something about that?
You can do something about
Really?
that. You can do all sorts of things about that. For example, that is the episode in which I would share my wisdom, which is earn your money before you spend it.
Oh, yes.
How's that for brilliance? How's that for wisdom?
That's brilliant.
If I had learned that maybe 40 years before I actually did learn it,
Yeah.
you'd already have that $1 million.
Aw.
Earn your money
It's
before
okay.
you
I
spend
wasn't
it.
really asking for $1 million.
And if you want to be rich, earn your money before you spend it, and set at least 10% aside before you spend it.
Yes. In
That doesn't sound like much.
a place where it has compound interest.
Yes,
you mean.
put it in the market, index
Yes.
funds. It's just that simple. Especially for you young listeners, if you're still in your 20s and you're only making, I don't know, whatever somebody in their 20s makes, 20, 30 grand a year. If you have the opportunity to sign up for a 401k account, or if you have the discipline to open your own IRA account, and you can take 10%, and you're like, 10%? I'm only making minimum wage. That ain't no money. No, now is the time to start.
Yeah.
Do that for the rest of your life, and by age 37, retire.
That sounds great. So,
Hey.
I mean, you could actually give us a little financial advice on the show, huh?
I could give you financial advice, and it would be great because it would only take 5 minutes. I don't know much.
That's right.
Another idea that hasn't made it into the podcast yet.
What is it?
Non-negotiable standards from the fast food years.
Oh.
See,
Who has worked in fast food?
who has worked in... See, before I was a highly paid information technology professional,
Yes.
MCSE and CCNA, I might add, and I did.
Yes.
I worked in fast food for 16 years.
What? Do I know you?
And in fast
No.
food, they have training programs. They send you, well, in the old days, they sent us Betamax videotapes to watch on the player in the training room, which, usually wasn't much bigger than a broom closet.
And you've got the extremely smiley server. She's
That's
like,
right.
I am going to go ahead and pour you a drink with the proper amount of ice.
That's
And you
right.
must use the scoop, not the
Yes,
cup.
That's
the
right.
scoop.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. But we learned important concepts like sense of urgency and
Yes.
perception of speed
Oh, gosh.
and non-negotiable standards. And the funny thing is how many of those old fast food lessons have stuck with me as life lessons. One of the funny things is this whole sense of urgency and perception of speed. One way to change your state, to change your mood, to change your energy level is, at least for me, just think about that sense of urgency.
Right.
Sense of urgency, all I have to do is think sense of urgency, and suddenly I can develop those body movements that would give a customer, or me myself, a perception of speed.
Yes. I remember working the early morning shift at Hardee's, and man, I was doing the drive-through and the front counter and just taking all the orders and getting them all done. Everything was just so perfect, but I was running.
And it makes you aware of your own state.
But I had to be balanced because I couldn't run too fast, otherwise I'd slip on the grease on the floor.
Fast food.
Fast food grease on the floor.
Yes. Life lessons from the fast food years. I could go on, but I won't. Also, rescuing concepts with enormous power and substantial risk, such as honor.
Oh, right. Okay, so wait. So you're talking about concepts that have enormous power,
Yes.
but if you use these concepts, there's a substantial risk of other people not understanding them.
Or using them badly.
Or you use them badly. Okay.
They are fraught. I mean, we talk about honor. Are we talking about honor, or are we talking about honor in the sense of worrying about what your family thinks? Or are we talking about honor killings? I mean, the whole idea of honor is fraught.
Right.
But
Yes.
it's an important concept.
Yes.
We need to do a show on that. And not just honor, but loyalty.
Loyalty. Yeah.
Loyalty. Now that's, talk about fraught.
Highly conditional.
When should you be loyal?
Right.
When should you be disloyal?
And what does this mean to be loyal?
But
does
if-
this mean to just obey without question? That would be kind of
But if
spooky.
honor and loyalty aren't fraught enough, how about this one? Tradition.
Yeah. What is that?
Ideas
Really,
that
what
haven't
is
yet
it?
made it into the 5 Minutes podcast, and maybe they won't.
Yeah.
So we would love to hear from you. What are your ideas that you're wondering, oh my God, what would Robert and Amy do with that?
Well,
Love to hear it.
other than talking about art and how wonderful it is, we do actually have a lovely note from Annie. Thank you so much, Annie. She says, I love the energy between the two of you and the topics. Though your show airs quite late at night for me, midnight.
Oh, Annie's in Europe.
She's in Europe. I value being able to start my weeks off with the smiles and positive thoughts that are evident from listening to the recordings. Thank you, you two rock.
Oh,
Annie,
so sweet.
just that I feel that hug you're giving me right now, so thank you so much.
Love it. Love, 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 love it.
Yes. Mary Aline was a waitress at Sambo's. I won't say that. I won't. I'll leave off
The lessons from that kind of work.
Yes.
Honest work, they call it.
She says
And-
it was like Denny's, only less PC. I don't know what Sambo's means. Is that some sort of
It's
slur?
the name of a restaurant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Mary Aline says nonviolent communication would be a good topic. So nonviolent protest, kind
right.
of thing, I believe. Yep.
We will make a note of that.
That would actually be a very good
So
topic.
any ideas you have, you can put them in the comments. You can put them in the comments after the show, or if you're
Yes.
listening later, as about half of our folks do. Or, actually on YouTube, it's way more than half. Or put them in the 5 Minutes with Robert Nasir Facebook group.
Yes.
And
5
let
minutes
us
with
know.
Robert Nasir.
Yes. In fact, that's one of your homework assignments this week.
Mm-hmm.
Your first homework assignment is number 1,
Yes.
reflect. We're doing reflection this week. So write down 2, and it's important that it be 2. If it's 1, you'll overthink it, and you'll miss something. So do 2. Write down 2 things about your performance or achievements
Yeah.
from the last 12 months that come to mind. So that gives you a good 8 months before pandemic times.
Right. Well, could it be something even within the pandemic times? Like since April, what have you achieved? Perhaps how you have changed. That was my thought actually was.
Well,
because
let's do that. Make it the
I have a
last
lot-
4 months.
I have a lot of things that have changed about me in the last 3 months.
Oh, my only concern was there's some people who've reported that they've kind of been hibernating. And they might want to stretch back further to find something they want. But
Yeah.
either way.
Right.
But I like your idea.
What were you doing last July? That would be nice.
So, right, what we're going to do too, you could do one of each.
Yeah.
It needs to be two, though. Again, if you just do one, that would be great, but that kind of focus won't quite achieve what we're trying to achieve here.
Okay.
Write down two things about your performance or achievements from the past 12 months. And take time to write them down. And think about them. Reflect.
Okay.
And then, if you're willing to share them with us. Let us see you.
Yes. Go on the 5 Minutes with Robert Nasir Facebook page and go ahead and post. Post all you like.
That's
post
right.
About
Let us put the spotlight on you.
Yes. We'd love that so very much. We'd like to get to know you more, and that would be a great way. Yep.
Yep. In fact, my Post-it note of the week, because every week you should have a new Post-it note and put it on your bathroom mirror or someplace where you will see it regularly during the week. And this week, all I've got, because it's our week of reflection, is put this on your mirror. Well done.
Well done.
I want you to have a note that says to you, well done.
That's a great phrase.
And
It
if
really
you've read
is.
Atlas Shrugged, and Lord knows I'm sure you have, because everybody has. If you haven't, that's your next
Everyone
achievement.
is doing it.
The-
Everyone has read Atlas Shrugged.
That's right. If all your friends have read Atlas Shrugged, jump off that bridge.
Becky,
But seriously, if you've read Atlas Shrugged, you will know where the expression well done comes up.
yes.
And I want that for you. But yes, your assignment number 2 is give us your feedback. Would you like more of the same and similar topics? Would you like to see us go in other directions as well? Would you like longer or shorter episodes?
Yes.
We haven't addressed yet why the show is called 5 Minutes with Robert Nasir.
Not really, no.
And we're not doing that tonight either. But would you like longer or shorter episodes? And the schedule. And here's the one I would love to hear back from people on. It's Sunday night at 6 o'clock. How's that work for you? For the folks who are watching this live and the folks who might want to watch it
it's sort of
live but are
like,
watching it later.
You know, Sunday night dinner, put your iPad up on the dinner table, you know, pass the potatoes, watch Robert.
Well, I can't share the secret behind the name of the show, but I can share why Sunday at 6 o'clock. Sunday at 6 o'clock because it's a Monday through Friday world.
Yeah.
So the weekends are time for leisure, times for listening to shows like this. And yet, the weekends are also time to go out and do things. So most folks are getting in around 5, 6 o'clock, putting some dinner on the table, settling in for the night, but it's still early enough that it's not prime time. This used to be the time, that hour just before the wonderful world of Disney. Remember, Disney used to do a feature on Sunday nights.
Oh, okay. That
And
was a long time ago.
And then, way long ago. And then 60 Minutes was a thing.
Right.
And that was 7 o'clock on Sunday
Oh,
nights.
yeah.
And that's still a thing. So
Right.
I thought this would be a good time
It is a nice time, isn't
to
it?
not conflict with other activities.
But if you have any preference whatsoever, please let us know.
But
if you
I
like
am-
it a weekday or however, you know.
That's right. I am absolutely open to changing that if enough people have a compelling reason for
We're
us
not
to do
doing
so.
it 6 a.m. on a Monday.
If that's what the people want. You got it.
Well, perhaps if our European audience requested it, that might work. If we had enough European subscribers.
Well, if we had enough patrons,
Yes.
if there was enough money coming in, then pshaw with my ideas.
Yeah. So actually, you know what I'm
Speaking,
Oh, I was going to just say, Rook, I'm sorry. So on the 5 Minutes with Robert Nasir Facebook page, which if you haven't subscribed to yet, please go ahead and join us. And I will go ahead and put out polls. I'll create some polls for us. And
Polls?
yeah, you can do that because we're
That's
living in
awesome.
2020.
That's amazing. Why didn't I think of that?
Mind blown.
That's what I have you for. You do all the thinking. I'll just keep reading stuff. Quick side discussion before we wrap up.
Mm-hmm.
This is in fact related, and you'll see how.
Okay.
Quent and Linda, who we mentioned earlier,
Yes, we did.
of Quent Cordair Fine Art.
Mm-hmm.
As many of you are aware, Quent Cordair Fine Art Painting and Sculpture Gallery
Yes.
did win their battle to reopen in Napa, California.
Mm-hmm.
Then they got shut down by other devious means.
Very devious. Nefarious.
And then things finally opened up again, and the gallery is in business. It is open. It is operating.
Open.
If you're anywhere near there, you could be in there.
Yes.
But new challenges related to the current protests are making things difficult. And that means they could use your support more than ever.
Yes.
Fortunately, the way to support them is go to their website. Look at their stuff.
Cordair.com.
Find something compelling that would make your life better.
Cordair.com.
And pick it up.
Yes.
And go to their Facebook page.
You know, they have a range of different products. You know, you can buy things for thousands of dollars if you have that kind of money. But they also have, I believe that they have, you know, prints of certain paintings and things like that.
They've
and
got
also,
a whole range.
you know, I think smaller versions of different
Cordair.com.
sculptures and.
Search them on Facebook. Sign up for their mailing list. Cordair.com. That is something that you need.
And honestly, you know what? They are so unique. They are the only art gallery that I'm aware of that actually sells art from artists who are you know, they're living, they're breathing, they're lively, they're creating new art all the time, and it's highly representational and it's very inspirational, and it'll just bring a breath of fresh air to your life, to your living room, to your bedroom, even to your office. So
Yes.
excellent choice if you purchase from them.
Yes. They didn't ask us to say any of this. This is strictly personal.
Yes, it is. And
But given all the craziness going on,
yeah,
this is one little thing you can do that is sane, that
Yes.
is sort of related to it, unfortunately,
and to,
but is totally value-oriented.
right, and to give you a little taste of their view of life, their perspective on life. Quinn Cordair is actually a writer as well, and he has several books out there for purchase. This one is it's a book, I believe it's called My Kingdom.
Yes, it's a collection called My Kingdom.
And thank you. And this is a tiny poem or little prose that he put together called, I won't tell you the name of it because that'll be a surprise. So, it's a conversation, I believe, between either two friends or two lovers, perhaps,
I'm sure
or
two
husband and
lovers.
wife. A husband and wife, perhaps.
I don't know.
And-
You read it and we'll let folks decide.
So
You're quoting.
quote, "A better part of living is not dying till you're dead." She had that indomitable look in her eye.
Ice cream run?
Damn straight.
That's the whole thing. See, if you're not a reader, My Kingdom has got these great, short but big pieces in them.
They're wonderful.
Yes.
They're absolutely wonderful.
Just go to Cordair.com.
Linda says she's blowing kisses to us.
With that said, look at the time. It's almost been 5 minutes. A few reminders. Past episodes, and again, I'm going to push that episode 14. Past episodes of this show are at youtube.com/Robert Nasir, where you can subscribe, get our YouTube numbers up.
Yes.
And where our numbers are already outstanding on facebook.com/Robert Nasir. So help us with the YouTube side of that.
Yes, please.
You can support the show even further, if you're feeling generous, at patreon.com/Robert Nasir, or message me for my exclusive PayPal email account, as several folks have done as well.
Exclusive.
With thanks again to everybody who's done that.
Yes.
And thank you just for watching and listening to us. There is no reason for us to do this without you.
That is absolutely right. You are our fuel for this, and we love the interaction. We love to hear from you. We love your stories, and we look forward to hearing more from you soon on the 5 Minutes with Robert Nasir Facebook page.
That's right. So as always, we wish you success and flourishing and reflection and love.
Mwah.